Good afternoon. Welcome. We're going to get started in just a moment, but I'd like to start with just a little bit of housekeeping. I want to make sure that you can hear me and our guests and see us clearly. So if you'll just go to the chat box that's either to the right of your video screen or just beneath it, and just let us know if you can see and hear us. And hey, National Chain Gang, say hi and give a wave. Let's make sure they can hear you too.
Hello. Hello.
All right, audience, your turn. Let us know if you can see and hear us. Hi, Chrissy. Okay, good. Hi, Ani. Welcome back. Hi, Peter. All right. Looks like we're coming through, and it is 2 p.m. Eastern, so we're going to get started. Welcome, everybody, to MJSA Expo Online. MJSA is offering this as a way to make sure we stay connected as an industry during this time when we're not as connected as we're accustomed to being. Today, I am super excited because we have National Chain Group for our session. I was a customer of National Chain starting back in 1995, and I thought I knew who National Chain was. And when I started doing my research into them over the last couple of weeks, I realized they've changed a lot in the last even 5 years, maybe. They'll tell you more about it. Anyway, I'm super psyched to bring them to you today because there's a lot to know and a lot that as an industry we could be taking advantage of with National Chain Group. Now, before we go into the discussion part of our session, they've produced a short video that walks us through all of the capabilities of the company. So we're going to start with that video. Before I hit play, there's a couple of things that everybody needs to do. The first thing is if you have video on your computer set to be automatically mute, I can't fix that for you. So you're going to need to hover over your computer screen and make sure that the speaker is on so you can hear the sound. National Chain, on your side, make sure you guys kill your microphone and I'll kill my microphone so we don't get a bunch of weird feedback on the line. If for some reason you cannot see or hear the video, don't panic. Keep looking to see if you've got a microphone button on your computer that you can turn on. That's usually the issue. The video will be available to everyone to see after the session. It will also be played at the end of this session. And of course, as with all of our MJSA Expo online sessions, we are recording everything. So if you have any problems with seeing or hearing something, you'll be able to see it later in the replay. So check for your mute button. Make sure it's not on, except for National Chain. Make sure your mute button is on. And I'm going to play the video now, and then we'll get into our conversation.
Welcome to National Chain Group in Warwick, Rhode Island. National Chain is a full-service custom jewelry manufacturer, one of the most progressive, innovative, and largest in the world.
National Chain has complete manufacturing capabilities. We can actually work from basic gold, bullion, to finished product. We're one of the few companies in the industry that can offer a full service like this.
With those capabilities and the talents of highly skilled craftsmen, National Chain Group produces an extensive line of precious and semi-precious pendant and fashion chain, earrings, findings, tubing, wire and beads, all at the highest of standards. Their craftsmen have decades of experience. Their machinery and technology is state-of-the-art. They are vertically integrated. Everything is manufactured in their buildings.
We keep a control of the process right from the grain, turning it into wire, flat stock tubing.
And it's all measured for precision to make sure it flows through the process flawlessly. Among the more than 2,000 chain machines is some of the most specialized cutting-edge machinery in the industry. The result is a consistently high-quality product for its clients. National Chain Group, with its facilities in Rhode Island and Santo Domingo, produces millions of feet of chain and jewelry products annually. The offshore plant in the Dominican Republic enhances the company's manufacturing capacity, reducing costs for its customers who get a high-quality product on time and at competitive prices. No wonder National Chain is featured in 2 television programs on prominent cable networks. The Discovery Channel profiles the company in its popular program How It's Made, and National Chain is on the History Channel's series Modern Marvels.
At National Chain Group in Warwick, Rhode Island, 600 machines are running at maximum capacity every day to produce jewelry chain.
Even with its impeccable reputation as a worldwide leader and one of the most respected full-service custom jewelry manufacturers in the world, National Chain is not sitting still.
One of the keys to National's success is the fact that the management of National Chain has decided to invest yearly in the development of new technology, new equipment.
The rapid prototype equipment is cutting edge, top of the line.
This drive to vertical integration began in late 1997 when National Chain President Steve Cipolla decided that to increase his company's self-sufficiency and flexibility, it would begin making its own wire. The decision made a great deal of sense given the company's reputation as a prime supplier of pendant and fashion chain, the production of which required enormous amounts of wire on a daily basis. Cipolla invested in the necessary equipment, from continuous casting machines to rolling mills and strand annealing furnaces. Wayne Wiesner, the company's special projects manager who oversees all of the company's mill operations, says that Steve is never afraid to invest. Even more investments enabled the company to produce tubing and flat stock for its findings division, along with solders in various grades. With each new investment, the vertical integration deepened. But what began as an effort to make National Chain increasingly self-sufficient soon turned into a boon for its customers, who began turning to the company for their own metal needs. That demand ultimately led to the creation of a new division, National Fabricated Metals. Today, that demand continues to grow. For example, Wiesner estimates that the company's weekly production of wire, if strung end to end, would span 2,000 miles. To put it in more visual terms, that's enough wire to stretch along the entire East Coast from the northernmost tip of Maine to the Florida Keys. Such success has required the company to expand its mill operations, which are all conducted at the National Chain Headquarters Complex in Warwick, Rhode Island. A new addition there is increasing the company's total manufacturing space to 230,000 square feet. What truly separates National Fabricated Metals from its competitors is not just its capacity, but also its flexibility and its ability to meet a range of customer needs. In that way, the mill division shares many of the same advantages enjoyed by all of National Chain's divisions: a breadth of expertise, high-tech equipment, and cross-functional operations. Those qualities also provide National's customers, from volume producers to specialty manufacturers, with an unparalleled competitive advantage. National Fabricated Metals may make enough wire to circle the globe many times over the course of a year, but quantity is not the whole story. Another facet of that story is how National provides its customers with choices. The wire, for example, can be manufactured in all colors and carats of gold, including 24 karat, as well as sterling. It can be engineered to meet the most exacting tolerances. The diameter can be drawn down to that of a human hair when needed. And National Fabricated Metals is one of the industry's few suppliers that offer solder-filled wire. Customers have the same range of choices when ordering tubing or flat sheet. The tubing, available in either solid or seam-welded forms, can be reduced so that its walls are as thin as a wafer without giving up strength and durability. The same holds true for flat sheet, which, like the tubes, can be cut to order or modified to meet a customer's specific needs. And that willingness to modify leads to another facet of the story. National exhibits an unmatched dedication to meeting its customers' demands, no matter how tight the tolerances or the deadlines. National also applies rigorous quality control standards. After the initial fire assay, the company uses advanced X-ray fluorescence technologies at every part of the fabrication process, from grain through final form, to ensure the highest standards are consistently maintained throughout. The national team also follows the highest sourcing standards. As a certified member of the Responsible Jewelry Council, or RJC, National has committed itself to following the RJC Code of Practices and to integrating ethical, human rights, social, and environmental considerations into their day-to-day operations. More and more consumers have questions about how companies obtain the metals used in jewelry, and National is taking the steps necessary to ensure that their customers can purchase from them with total confidence. National Chain Group is actually made up of 8 separate entities all working together to serve the industry. National Chain, its best-known brand, produces up to 1.5 million feet of chain per week, enough to keep 600 machines running daily at maximum capacity. They produce these chains in a wide range of weights, finishes, and styles, including exclusive Byzantine designs. Standard Chain creates finished product with uniquely crafted knit, interwoven, and flexible metal patterns through proprietary methods that ensure maximum quality and comfort. James A. Murphy & Son specializes in both plain and fancy beads, findings, and tubing, with the industry's best selection of patterns and textures. National Fabricated Metals offers everything from casting grain to sheep, wire, and solder, all created to the most exacting specifications. National Design Studio can produce custom metal molds, personalized chain, findings, and jewelry. National can also take a design from model to finished casting, on time and on budget, with their Village Goldsmith and Colorado Casting division. The Village Goldsmith has a 30-year reputation for superior production services, from CAD/CAM to casting, stamping, and sintering. Apogee Precision Parts is a dock-to-stock supplier that specializes in stamping and deep drawing metal parts for a range of industries. It manufactures everything from charms to capacitor components, medical implants, and diamond drill bits with zero discharge. And C&W Steel Stamp Company is National's most recent acquisition. C&W offers high-end coining and striking services. It produces everything from charms and ID tags to coins and components with precise detail and accuracy. The latest and finest technology, quality, old-world craftsmanship, exclusive chains and jewelry for any client's needs. That's what National Chain Group is all about. National Chain Group is committed to getting better every day. Contact them to see for yourself why they continue to prove to their customers that the possibilities are endless.
Over here from, there we go. All right. I think we're back on screen, right? Can you guys see me?
Yes, we can.
A little drag on this line today. I hope it was just the drag of fixing the screens and not a voice drag. Anyway, that's a lot going on. So I'm going to tip this over to Tracy Botsford, who's National Chain's Vice President of Manufacturing. And Tracy, could you just start with telling us what's going on at National? Like, how did you get here?
Well, first of all, Andrea, thank you for hosting National Chain's first webinar with MJSA. And somehow I have a feeling there's going to be a few of these in the future for us, meeting up like this. National Chain's been pretty busy lately. We've made some acquisitions of the stronger jewelry specialty companies in the area. I'm sure your viewers over the last few issues of the magazine have read the articles, and they're probably tuning in today. and they've got a little taste of what we've been up to. And today we've invited the executives and managers of these divisions to join us to go a little deeper into all of the products that we currently make. Over the past few years, we've merged all of these companies into 5 facilities here in the United States and 2 of them in the Dominican Republic. So right now we're located in National Chain headquarters at 55 Access Road. In this particular building, we have raw material and the mill division, and of course, chain production. A couple of streets over from here is Bay State Road. We have our research and development building where we have engineers and some of the more complicated tooling is put together, and the CAD and CNC work is done in that building. Then we jump over a couple of streets from there to Colorado Avenue, where we have our product development area, 3D printing. Murphy Bead is located in that building. Colorado Casting, Lost Wax Casting is in there. We also have packaging and inspection in that building. We will package for customers all the way to the getting it ready for final retail sale. So with UPC stickers and ready to put on the shelf. Then from there, we jump over to Jefferson Boulevard building, where we have Apogee Precision Parts. And we have another Lost Wax Cast company that does precision parts, and that's the Village Goldsmith. And the flat stock raw material is located in that building as well. Then we can take a drive up the road about 20 miles up to North Attleboro to the Standard Chain division, and that is a mesh and Cobra manufacturing facility. And then from there, we have to jump on a plane. We can head up to Logan Airport and fly down to the Dominican Republic. And we have 2 facilities down there that help us with the assembly and the manufacturing of manipulated products. So that gives you a little taste of what we've been doing over the probably last 5-6 years. There's been a tremendous amount of growth. And now I'd like to pass it over to our Executive Vice President, Joe Esposito.
Hi, Andrea. Thank you for hosting this forum. I think it's interesting, especially watching the video, where we see the variety of capabilities that we have here at National. We pretty much touch just about every discipline of jewelry manufacturing that there is. And I think as a benefit to our customers, they have the opportunity to draw from literally hundreds of years of knowledge from amazing craftsmen and these different businesses that we brought into the company that were really leaders of the industry that supported the industry for years. So National's in a unique situation where we can develop a product that crosses over lines of including things like chain, beads. We can bring cast product in. We have the ability to do engineered castings that with very high precision. That's we service the luxury markets. We service the commodity markets. So we really bridge the entire range of jewelry products. You're going to have the opportunity to speak to all the different division managers. They can go into depth more of what they do and how their company is unique and how it all fits together in the group. From a product development standpoint, we can gather people together and we can look at a project and we can find the most cost-effective manufacturing methods available based on the different knowledge that we have. Whether we're stamping lightweight parts in progressive tooling, or whether we choose to do a CNC machined component or a wire EDM product. National has invested over the years in all these different technologies, for a reason, and that's to be able to be a one-stop manufacturing facility. We have a different philosophy here on return on investment. It's really more about investing in the future and investing in our customers. We're not looking for necessarily an immediate return, but more of a long-term investment that takes us to the next, the next phase of what may happen. Even during the pandemic, as an example, we still invested as if everything was as it's always been. So it's we're not afraid to put money behind the technology and what we feel is going to help grow the business.
We know how hard it is just to set up an operation to do one process. So scaling a jewelry manufacturing company is hugely complicated. And I know I'm going to be curious to hear more about how you guys work together to do all those bridges that you just described, because the jewelry industry is so used to jumping from business to business to get different pieces of their process done. And with you guys, we don't have to do that.
Just Tracy and I have to run all over the place. I think.
Wait, how often are you making that excuse to run down to DR when it gets to be like January? All right. Well, should we tip it over to Jim and talk about the bead group?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Are you ready? Something else you wanted to add? Okay, so this is Jim Murphy, and he's the division president of James A. Murphy and Sons. And tell us what you do over at James A. Murphy and make us more familiar.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for hosting, and thank you everyone for sharing part of your afternoon to tune in and learn about National Chain. James A. Murphy and Sons was founded in 1963 by my grandparents, Virginia and James Murphy. For the first 50 years of our existence, we were mainly a small volume fancy bead manufacturer. We left the high volume beads to others in the industry. In 2012, we became part of the National Chain family. Since that time, we've gone after that high-end, high volume business. As Joe was saying, even during the pandemic, we're adding machines on a constant basis because our growth has been exponential. And National Chain is not shy about spending money where needed in order to meet the needs of the market. So when you think about Murphy, some have been in the industry for a long time will think of us as, twisted corrugated beads or arcs, or those fancy beads that might be a focus of a necklace. You can also think of us now for the 3mm beads, the 2mm beads that you might need 10 million of. So we can handle your needs anywhere from 50 pieces to 10 million pieces and beyond that. The other thing we got into, which was a natural extension of our business, was making our own tubing. The old Murphy used to buy our tubing. National has made the investment, so we make our own material. So if you need tubing, any OD, any wall thickness, we're a full-service tubing manufacturer. We give you it in rounds and ovals and triangles and squares, any shape, any configuration you can think of. So when you think of Murphy, you really should think anything that's made out of tubing, anything your imagination can be. Our manufacturing techniques are very flexible. We have a line with thousands of different beads in it, and we can modify those to individual customers' needs as needed.
Okay, so that was something I was going to clarify. So you have a catalog of beads that people can choose from, but they can also use that to springboard into a design they're thinking of that may not be in the catalog?
Absolutely. Our catalog does not have every item we made. The catalog would be much too large. It has a very good representation of everything we make. And, one of the things I like to show people on tours is we have these master boards that go all the way back to 1963. Every time we make a new item, we put one sample on that board, as this is what this item is supposed to be. So I've had customers come down and look through those master boards to find some of the different variations that might not be in the catalog. But all a customer really needs to do is tell us, I like this item, but I'd like it to be a little bigger, a little smaller. Describe it to us. Chances are we can find it.
Okay. Now, can they just send you can they send you a picture off a napkin design and you can tell them they can do it, or does they need to send in some of the more technical drawing?
If they can draw well, I'm happy to take their drawing. Any technical drawing, any description. Sometimes all it is I like your number 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'd like it 30% longer and 10% narrower. And most of the time we can accommodate them and find what they're looking for.
What kind of minimums are people talking about?
It's very low. It's $100 per style. That's our minimum order. Very reasonable.
That's very reasonable. That's accessible for a lot of people. Oh, I know another person asked me this. Do you guys just do precious metals, or do you also produce in low value metals?
We also work in mostly copper now because of lead law limits. We also do some work in aluminum. We basically work with any, we always start with tubing. So we'll work with any tube that will go through our process. The only one we found so far that doesn't is platinum. It's too hard, too brittle, doesn't work with our process. But anything else, people have sent us specialty bronzes and other things over the years. We, of course, don't stock everything, all these special metals, but if somebody has a source for them, we're more than happy to work with them.
Okay, good to know. That's fascinating. I can't believe the low minimum. That could get somebody to try you out and see what could work before, without feeling like it's out of reach. Anything else you want to share, Jim, or should we tip it over to Jeremy?
Not at the moment. I think Jeremy's ready to go.
All right.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Andrea, and thank you, MJSA members, for having us today. One of my primary responsibilities here at the National Chain Group is to currently oversee the manufacturing operations at Standard Chain. So I'd like to explain a little bit about where Standard Chain originated from, its history, and its product offerings. So Standard Chain actually opened its doors back in 1923 in the quiet town of North Attleboro, Massachusetts. The primary focus was that of Milanese mesh chain, of which the company developed proprietary processes for creating this fine, flexible, handmade style of jewelry. It wasn't long before Standard Chain had earned a reputation for high quality, exclusive looks, and competitive pricing. Over the next decades, the company thrived, developing an assortment of products for customers who sought out exclusive high-end fashions. Today, that product is still being produced at the same North Attleboro facility, using some of the same equipment and techniques that were developed many decades ago. In fact, the average tenure of our staff is about 20 years, and we actually still have full-time employees that started with us back in the early 60s, more than half a century ago. They're still full-time to this day, which is amazing.
It is amazing.
As a companion to our Milanese mesh, we also offer a product called Wire Knit, which is a unique tube-like seamless chain of countless design variations. Cobra or gooseneck chain also makes up another important part of our overall product portfolio. This chain, with its fascinating stretchability and its eye-catching reflectivity, has become extremely popular for use in a wide range of fashion accessories over the years. In 2015, Standard Chain was acquired by the National Chain Group. Now, the combination of talent catapulted instantaneously Standard's innovative mesh products into the wholesale, manufacturing, and volume retail markets. Options that were previously unavailable per se were now open to market. Design capabilities and combinations of mesh, along with other jewelry components and findings, were developed on a regular basis and still are to this day. Our flexibility ensures that customers can find the exact products they want, coupled with the quality and craftsmanship that has followed this brand for nearly 100 years. Now, you may ask, what is Milanese mesh? Because I asked the same question when I came on board here. Well, the Milanese style itself originates from Milan, the capital of Lombardy in Italy. This type of material was actually developed centuries ago and originates from the protective metal chain mail that was worn under the armor of ancient warriors, which I find to be really cool. From the 13th through 19th centuries, the manufacturing process was the exclusive preserve of Milanese goldsmiths who catered to princely connoisseurs and the clergy. The production was completely handmade, just as it is today, and was a specialty of this region for hundreds of years. The design is specific by its dense, tight mesh, which is durable yet particularly smooth to the touch. Now, mesh is still a very manually made product today, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Although technology has certainly evolved since the inception of mesh itself, some of the fundamental aspects of the mesh attributes do require human intervention throughout the fabrication process. This ensures that all performance and quality parameters are met throughout every inch of material produced. Mesh starts with round wire, It's then formed into individual precision spirals. Now, each of those spirals is then hand woven together, piece by a human operator, which is very, very unique. That creates a finished blanket, which is then further processed into various shapes and sizes and thicknesses of finished chain. Those precision spirals are absolutely critical to the performance of the finished material, as any small variations to pitch, diameter, or temper will affect the overall form, fit, and function of the finished product itself. So we offer our products in a wide variety of finished, semi-finished, and raw material options to suit our customers' needs. Materials are fabricated into many forms, such as round, flat, folded, scalloped, twisted, and braided materials. We also offer jewelry items such as necklaces, bracelets, earrings, rings, pendants, as well as fashion accessories such as belts and cufflinks, hair accessories, watch bands, cap straps are just some of the many products that Standard Chain has to offer. We can customize our materials to fit our customers' requirements, and we can quickly take your idea from concept to marketplace by utilizing the talents of our on-site artisans and product development team. And this all couples into, it's all part of the Standard Chain experience, which is flexible, close-knit, and satisfying. Well, that's Standard Chain in a wrap.
That's a wrap. I have like questions, but I guess the first one is, somebody in our audience want something that uses a Milanese mesh element. How do they work with you? Like, how does that process start?
Well, it's very similar to the rest of our starting new items. They can rate something up on a napkin, or they can send a technical drawing. Whatever they like, we can certainly take that concept and come back to them with something that would be workable in the market. It's very unlikely that we're not able to do that with these materials. They're very forgiving. There's a lot of opportunity with this type of material, and there's a ton of availability. We have literally thousands and thousands of different variations of this mesh. It can be made in different wire sizes, different thicknesses, widths. It's just you could really cater this to meet our customers' needs, and we do that on a regular basis.
Now, do you accept less skilled drawing than Jim?
We could, I guess. Again, it all rolls back into the end expectation of the piece. I mean, some parts are extremely precision, and they have to be held within 1 or 2 thousandths of an inch. Some are a little more forgiving. So, we always can start with the easiest approach, and if we need anything more technical, we can drive our customers into the right direction.
And you said, when you were talking, you said that the material was available in a lot of forms, including a raw material form. What does that mean?
Well, it means that the material, it starts off most of the material starts off in a flat pattern. So we can take that and sell that just as a flat material itself, or we could actually form that into a semi-finished shape, or even into obviously a finished product good right there. So it's available, to suit our customers' needs. If folks wanted to play around with this, for instance, for their own personal product development, we could sell them linear lengths of this, and they can twist and turn and manipulate this into finished goods. So, and then they can come back to us and say, this is what I want you to create, if they don't have the capability to produce that in a mass production state.
Oh, that's really cool. So that helps them sort of through their own design phase as well, but they may not be able to do the production of it.
Correct. It's a very unique type of material. I think it's really amazing how flexible it is, yet how durable the material is. I mean, it's interwoven pieces of wire, so it gives that very high perceived value, and it's a very lightweight product for the most part too as well. So and it gives itself to a daily wearer for a piece of an accessory or a piece of jewelry. Daily wearing is typically never an issue with this type of product.
Right. Munya is asking where she can see the standard samples. Like, are they available on the website? How would they see all these samples?
There are some. I'm sorry, Andrew. There are some examples on our National Chain website. They're also in the National Chain catalog too, as well. But as Jim has mentioned too, as referencing James Murphy beads, not everything we offer is in the catalog. So I encourage the customers to ask the questions of what they think think maybe they take a look at some of what's available out there. And if they say, well, I want something a little wider, a little bigger, a little more spaced out, have this conversation with us and we can walk you through what options are available.
Okay, cool. Somebody else was asking if we could see the material or if we had a photo. Catherine, we can't really do that on this session because I kind of need to have that stuff queued up first.
Well, I actually have,
I know that
a couple of trays here, so I'm not sure if you guys can see some of this. I'll bring it close to the camera.
Get them over closer.
We'll see how this works.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
So,
all right, come a little closer. There, a little higher. There you go.
This mesh is actually woven in large carpets, so the width and form of the product can be altered by us, or you can buy it in full sheets as well, manipulate it as you need it.
That's cool. Hey, move it a little bit more to your right so we can see the ones on the left side of the board, or maybe your left. Move it to your left. Yeah, everything's reversed. I'm telling you the wrong direction no matter what you say.
Is that better?
Keep going that way. Whatever way that is, go that way. All right, cool. Now we can see the ones at that. Very cool. All right, Catherine's giving us a smiley face.
Great.
All right. Do you have more to share with us about the standard chain group, Jeremy, or should we pass it off to Avi?
I think we're ready to pass it off to Avi if no more questions.
All right. So next up, we have Avi Martirosyan. He's the division president for the Village Goldsmith.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us. It never ceases to, amaze me that every time I come to these meetings, these gatherings, I learn more and more about National Chain Group, even though I've been here for about 3 years. And Village Goldsmith has been established since 1987. And I founded it probably 2 days after I left the Marine Corps. Now here we are so many years later, decades of experience. And we got acquired by National Chain about 2.5, 3 years ago, and it's been the greatest thing. And I always say my last boss was the Marine Corps, and I still don't have a boss because we are left, in a situation where the companies are left intact, and the reason we're here is because of our capabilities. And the only difference right now is our capacity is skyrocketed. We have the ability to pick through all of our brothers and sisters throughout National Chain and be able to enhance our capacity. And being a jeweler, bench jeweler for many years, turned it into a manufacturing facility. 1995, I was able to go through the doorway into the new world of computers and CAD and CAM, invested a lot of money. Most of the time we broke things, but at one point, it was like, voila, we'll figure out how to make metal molds. And after we learned how to do that, other challenges came about. We just made a lot of things, didn't know how to process them. So then we started creating, due to CAD and CAM, we enhanced our capabilities into tooling where it totally wove into the casting by creating stamping tools, trimming tools, to cut the cast pieces from the trees. And then the next step was having a patented process that we designed and we invented, which is a modular screwing system. So as you can imagine, if you know what casting trees are, we have to make trees hand by hand, one by one. So having this process that is patented and proprietary for us, we can put upwards of 2,000 to 3,000 small components on a tree very uniformly. So what sets us apart from the rest of the world as far as casting is concerned, which is like a 2,000-year-old process, as we all know, is the ability to kind of overcome all of the shortcomings of casting. And in having the technology behind us, we're able to predispose what the casting is going to be like coming out of the other end. So utilizing CAD, utilizing specialty software that could do virtual casting, we can predetermine what the end product is going to look like, and all the way down to, finished product. So given the circumstances, we're at a point where we can manufacture hundreds and thousands of precision cast components, of functional components, be it clasps or components that can be actually cast and then struck. We also have at Village Goldsmith coining capability, and the reason we achieved that was because now we can cast a component that has a lot of modulation, a lot of depth, and then put it into a coining press and press it and iron it out the rest of the way. So now this was not a new technique. This has been done for many years for gold-filled products, but we brought it to a different level. We were able to bring this to a level of precision and a lot less steps in between. So, I was told I have 5 minutes. I asked for 7. I can go for an hour. But I can tell you this, that being part of National Chain, it really catapulted us to a level that is unsurpassed. Actually, we are borderline dangerous to this industry because of this capacity and capabilities. So we can go from product development all the way down to a finished product of onesies and twosies, or we can go into huge quantities. And we're talking about 250,000 components casted. Part 1 to part 2,000 would be exactly the same. And then we have additional techniques of breakaway gates on small pieces, so that eliminates the degating and grinding. And also because of CAD and computerized systems, we're able to make trim tools that actually you can take the casting, put it into a trim tool, and trim away the gate automatically without having to touch it, with machines grinding, generating dust and grindings that eliminates all kinds of load factors. It's great for us, it's great for the customer, and basically we are just ready and willing in reference to technology. And at this point, we've come to realize that, every day we wake up, it's not like, okay, so what are we going to do today? It's just like, there's not enough time in the day. And so we get out at a certain time, and that could be a blessing. And I have some colleagues that we race to see who's going to leave the parking lot before who. And someone will say, okay, yesterday you were there a little longer than me. So once the security gets us out of the building, we have to finish our text messages and emails in the parking lot. But this feels great. Like I said, my last boss was the Marine Corps, other than my wife. But at this point, I still feel like I have my independent ability to think for myself, an ability to choose what route to take. And obviously, as far as expenditure, we go at our pace, and it's very fast. But as far as the future is concerned, our next step would be powder metallurgy. That would be a sintering process. I want to pretty much eliminate as much casting as possible, and it's because of the beauty and the capability of powder metallurgy, but also it brings in the current environmental issues, and it uses hydrogen, which the byproduct is water, and all the binders and components that bind these things together are made of weeds, seaweed. So that is the next step for me. And hopefully soon enough, we'll have another meeting like this, and I can show and tell a new product.
Oh, I've got so many. Yeah, we need more than 7 minutes. Okay, so first of all, we need more borderline dangerous in this industry. If we're going to stay relevant, borderline dangerous needs to be our goal. So I love that. Okay, I started doing this when you started talking about modular spruing. So when you're doing the spruing with your approach, are you able to then optimize the geometries of the sprue to get better flow factors, or is it all about just getting it done faster, or is it both?
No, actually the product development predetermines what the sprue is going to be, but within a range we have Like if you were to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy those PVC tubes like plumbing supply, and you could just stick them together and make a little person, right? If you want it any angle. Well, picture that. We can do that with our modular screwing system, hence the name. So it is designed to go to Rio Grande's New Tech machine. Excuse me. But I could get anyone off the street without any knowledge of treeing. That was my issue. I couldn't find people to, quickly enough to train them, and then you lose them or whatever. It was just the most expensive part was making trees. So the modular system made it available. So here's the trick. There's no trick to it. Depends on the size of the part. There would be 3 or 4 different main screws, and they fit into particular couplers. So as we're designing the component, we would match it up with a particular coupler that would fit through the whole system, and that would predetermine the temperatures. But one of the major factors in casting is the placement of the component, the size of the gate, and the consistency. So this system eliminates most everything that would be a variance or a component that you would have to guess about.
Okay. All right. We'll come back and talk about that some more. Chrissy, I'm going to come back to your question in a little bit. Right now, I kind of want to get around the table and hear the whole picture, and then we'll dig in and ask more questions. So,
I told you it was more than 7 minutes.
Yes. Did you have to arm wrestle your teammates there for more time? All right. So now we're going to go over to Martin Chappell, who's the president of the C&W Steel Stamp Company. And Martin, tell us about what you're doing over there.
Sure. Hi, Andrea. We're National Chain's newest division. We've come on board. We bring 60 years of history with stamp making, die making, and hub making. Now, my father started the company in 1959. I came on board in 1976. So we're trying to combine the latest technology with the old school manufacturing of coin making and hub and die cutting. So National Chain has really expanded our capabilities also, and I agree with Ave that everybody merging together, it's been a dream as far as I think very smooth, everybody working together. We bring in additional CAD/CAM facilities complementing what they already have here. Also, yep.
Sorry, I'm getting some latency, so I was like, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Just going to say, we also make the steel stamps for National Chain and for other companies as well. So we can provide that service. When you mark a 14-karat stamp or a logo into a jewelry pot or a ring, we provide that. Some of the problems that people run into with steel stamps is measuring the stamp itself, knowing what to order, knowing the logo dimensions. We can help with that. As far as designing the logo that's going to fit in a small part, making sure it's clear and precise. So that's something we can do as well. We do that quite a bit for National with their chain tags and their chain links. Basically, they get very small and very accurate. So that helps in that respect. On our website, Ring Stamp, we get into that a little bit as far as measuring how to measure a steel stamp.
Okay. That's a big challenge for a lot of times. I know that people in our audience, there's constantly an expressed frustration with, you need a stamp, you send it to somebody to make it, but they don't do it quite right, so then you have to do it again. So the fact that you're offering guidance to make sure it gets right, I think
exactly. We deal with it with emails back and forth before something is completed. You'll get a personal touch there with and even artwork back and forth with how it'll fit on your part, basically. So how much room we have to work in. And we can adjust the logo, basically. We don't have to just stick with actual artwork, but we can adjust it to fit the part, and sometimes make it more simple so it'll impress better and clearer. And also another aspect is we're getting into what we have been doing, coining dies. We do a lot of coining dies and such as well, so that's another aspect. When we take, we can, as the U.S. Mint did and does, from sculpture, from clay sculpture, we can turn that into a steel die, basically, right from the clay into a steel die. And there's a couple of different ways to go about that with CAD/CAM technology, or we actually have a 100-year-old machine that the U.S. Mint used as well. So we can do it old school, or we can do it the new modern way.
Now, are there arguments sometimes for doing it old school? Like, when would you decide to do it old school instead of CAD/CAM?
Sometimes if something is pre-existing, it might be better to go the old school way. In other words, we have bronzes, we have plaster models that go back in time. That in that respect, it would be easier to do it the old school way. If we're starting from scratch, it's probably cheaper to create the model in CAD and do it with a CNC machine. So it does depend on price and quality, what's required. If there's a lot of lettering, for instance, sometimes the CNC would be the best way to go. For more artistic flowing work, the old school Janvier would probably be the best approach.
So how does someone get started working with you? What do they have to do?
Basically, the same thing. I get sketches in the emails and so forth, and that's really all that's required to start.
Okay.
Some
and
start,
minimum?
Jump off and ask, we would at that point tell them what we need from there.
Okay, so you'll guide them through the process once they let you know they have a need.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. Very cool. That's a great offering. Anything else you want to tell us about C&W, or should we tip it over to Cheryl?
Yeah, I think that's about it. I think I covered just about everything. Thank you.
All right. Well, now we're going to go over to Cheryl Antonacci, the Director of Product Development. All right, Steve, let's pan that camera. There we go. So that's Cheryl. Corner of the table. You have your hands full with these guys, right?
I know. It's kind of ironic that I'm the last to speak, because actually the buck starts right here. So I am the first.
How do you manage all this?
Not easily, but basically my role with the help of the PD team is to facilitate or help the customer walk the customer's custom designs through the development process. And you see that we have a lot of different facets to that. Our customers also range from small designers you've heard with napkin sketches. We have wholesalers who may come with an existing item that they're asking us to duplicate, or other large manufacturers who come with very detailed specs with very, very tight tolerances. So we basically meet with the team very often, bringing the knowledge from all the other departments, and try to coordinate and get it all moving and flowing together.
So you say that in one sentence like that's easy, but we know that's not easy. So what does a typical day look like for you?
Well, it depends. What's a typical day look like? We'll get a request from a customer, whether it be a napkin sketch. And our first goal before we kind of reach out to everyone is to really understand the goals of the customer and the scope of the project. So we really want to know, do they understand exactly, or we want to make sure we understand exactly what they're looking for. Do they know their target price, their approximate usage, their aesthetic? What are they bringing to the table, whether it's their own files or a sketch, and what that expectation is. So what's the expected launch date or launch quantities? A lot of these concepts are very new, or And it could be one or two items, or it could be an entire collection for a company. So it all depends. There's quite a range but we sit down and try to figure out the most cost-effective and efficient way of going through the process. And a lot of times we'll do, there's other modifications we can do along the way. For instance, take Marty with the chain tags. We may have a new request for a chain tag that we can easily laser cut and engrave to get approval. And then at that point, we just determine, based on the quantities the customer needs, will it go into a metal mold? Will it go into a aggressive die-struck stamping tool? But then we kind of filter it out. So basically, the whole process starts with our CAD team, where they create a 3D file, and whether we laser engrave a prototype sample, or we also have various printers where we do 3D printing. So we can actually print a wax that you can cast, direct cast right from the wax. This gives the customer representation, because whether it's a sketch or a detailed spec, it's so 2D. Now they have something to touch and feel that's cast directly out of metal, where they can make those modifications. We make sure that we understand the aesthetic that they're looking for, and then we determine if it's the most cost-effective way to move forward, should it move into production. At that point, also gives us the opportunity to actually quote, or at least estimate the price based on how we think we're going to manufacture it in any kind of volume going forward. If the customer approves the prototype as well as the estimated price, then it's time to pass it off, and we meet as a team to determine what's the best way to go forward with any production. And that's what everybody. So some projects from the very beginning are very straightforward. Other projects we need the whole production team in from all the different divisions to determine, before we even go to step one, let's make sure that we know what we're doing, instead of making even a prototype that we're not going to be able to duplicate in volume in the future.
Mm-hmm. So you're
kind of balancing out.
Designed for manufacturability from the very beginning.
We always try to, and we always try to educate if needed, the customer, or work together as a team to guide them once we understand exactly what they're looking for, and perhaps offer other options where it's going to get yourself into a little pickle if you take this route. If you think it's something that's going to grow, or a collection that's going to grow, or an item that's going to grow, then we should start down this path first.
Well, and you guys have so many capabilities that you can do that, right? It's depending on the volume plan and the turnaround times or whatever, you can go different manufacturing routes.
Yes, we have one of the printers, the 3D printers that we have, is a production size printer. So we can, print wax in volume if needed.
Very cool. I know somebody's going to ask, what are you using for volume printing?
It's Project.
Yeah. Yep.
Project.
It's a project.
So we do SolidScapes for smaller runs and projects for the larger ones.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm starting to get some questions from our audience, but is there anything else you guys want to weigh in with around the table before we open up to questions? And did I miss anybody? I'm afraid I missed somebody. Or did I get you all?
No, I think you got it all, but I think what you've seen just in the short time that we've had to talk here was that all the divisions complement the core business of chain, and it pulls it all together. There's a reason why each one of these companies has been folded into the National Chain Group, and it all works so nicely.
Yeah, that's coming through loud and clear.
It all complements our core business of chain.
Very cool. All right, so Chrissy was asking, and I think she was asking back, I think it was during when Avi was speaking, but she wants to know what's the typical turnaround time for casting custom designs?
Casting custom designs? Well, depends on the complexity.
Yeah,
the obvious. We can, if it's a simple enough design, it can be turned around within days, a couple of days. As long as if there is an item that easily can go into a 3D modeling in a software, then it can be translated, put into the printer, And these printers today are so fast that within hours you have a printed component. And again, depends on how difficult of a design it is. It's potentially done within 24 hours. But again, that's the speed that we can move at. And there's a reason for that. And the reasons would be where are we going from there? If it's going to be rushed through, then we can speed it through very quickly.
All right. Now, Elizabeth's asking a question on competitive pricing, and it would be hard, I think, to answer her specific question of, she's manufacturing in the Diamond District in New York, and now she's wondering if you could bring her pricing down. I guess what I'd like to hear you guys speak to is, I would assume that a lot of our listeners or viewers think you're too big for them. Like, National's just too big. I'm going to have to spend way too much money to do work. So give a sense of the size of companies that you can work with, small to large, and also how your integrated processes can contribute to a better price for the customers. Who wants to tackle that one?
That's an interesting question, and it's something that we're faced with all the time. It really depends on the type of product they're looking for. It's very hard to answer a question like that without having a conversation with the actual customer on the phone. First of all, to understand the scope of the business that they have, what they're looking for. Is it we're not necessarily in the business to sell ones and twos. There are other vehicles for that, but we have reasonable minimums depending on the particular chain. And also we try to build relationships. I mean, not everyone places an order for hundreds of thousands of pieces every time they order. So it's sometimes it's very individual to the customer. How much we'll sell. Literally we have programs where we sell individual pieces. So again, it's a difficult question to answer without really understanding who the customer is. So I'm not sure if that answers your question properly, but
I would imagine, though, it is a lot more cost effective than running a production product from company to company that, to have each of the different steps done. Because a lot of these people are going to a CAD/CAM group for the design and then bringing that over to the casting company for the casting, and then it's got to go someplace else for setting and finishing. So,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought the question was the chain specifically. When it comes to other products, because we are full service, we will gladly marry a chain to a pendant and put the entire program together from start to finish. And the minimums can be very reasonable. Again, depending on the metal quality, and a lot of it comes down to just MOQ on a particular item, minimum quantity necessary for a particular part. So I mean, if it's custom trademarked spring ring, as an example, we have 1 kilo minimums that are required for bringing in that component. If it's a basic pendant ring, we can usually lessen our pull that out of stock and have a smaller minimum.
I can tell you, I've experienced a number of occasions customers that find us and they're so excited. They're like, wait, so you can do the chain and the casting and put the bead on it as well, and then plate it and laser engrave my logo on it? And it's like the end all, they've finally arrived. And I'm sorry?
And package it.
It is and package it. Tell us more about that for a minute, because I didn't even know you guys would package it to take it all the way to retail. So what does that entail?
Absolutely. We bring everything over to our Colorado Ave facility, and we have inspectors and packaging people there. We'll purchase whatever card. A lot of them have little romance cards that you put the chain on with the pendant, and put it in a cellophane sleeve and put it in a custom box. we'll procure all that for the customer and get it ready to their specs for final delivery to a distribution center so they can take it and put it directly into the retail store. They provide the UPC code, and it's ready to go.
That's brilliant, because that's a big piece of operations that's difficult for people.
Right.
Now,
We try to make it as easy as possible for the customers that we deal with. We want them to come here and leave here with a finished product, not have to take it all over town trying to figure out how to put it all together.
that's fantastic. Let's see. Cheryl, you mentioned plating, and we have a specific question. I know you guys do a ton of plating in the chain division, but our querent wants to know more about plating or other hard coating technologies. Particularly, she's interested in vermeil or gold fill. So what are your plating capacities?
And you guys, we have all of our in-house plating. We do 24 karat, 18 karat gold, so correct me, rhodium, rose gold.
High thickness gold.
I'm sorry.
High thickness gold, so we can do vermeil.
We can do vermeil. We do other kinds of coating, so color coating. We do UV printing.
What's the hard coating?
Laser etching, laser welding.
What's the hard Cerakote?
We have multiple color-coded finishes as well as the full gamut of plating finishes.
Okay. Somebody wants to know, what is the plating thickness that is 3 microns?
3 micron, well, that's considered vermeil, which is actually 100 micron minimum. So 100 mil minimum, 2.5 microns. But it's often referred to as 3 microns.
So just 3 microns or vermeil, just use it interchangeably?
Exactly. I mean, the legal standard is 100 mils or 2.5 microns, but it's usually it's represented as 3 microns in a lot of conversation.
All right, and then we could almost do a whole conversation at another time just about plating. So I think I just thought of not an MJSA Expo session, but maybe an MJSA webinar series session, or maybe you guys come talk about plating, because our audience really has a lot of questions and trying to understand it. They want to know, does plating always increase durability? Do some coatings, but not others, increase durability? So I'm seeing questions about that in there. Would you guys be game to come back and talk about plating sometime?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, I wrote it down. I will get back. All right, other questions from our audience? Do you guys have things that you want to hear from these guys? Well, we've got them all at one table. Or other things that you guys thought you should share based on the conversation we're having?
Anyone else?
I think we've hit most all the topics.
Well,
as I said, I don't think this is going to be our last webinar. Something makes me think that we're probably going to be welcomed back.
Well, you're such a wealth of knowledge. I mean, around that table, we just have the entire spectrum of jewelry production knowledge. So it's fabulous that you're all here. And I do know that National Chain is planning on having each of the individual divisions come back for a full expo session over the coming months. So we'll be able to dig more deeply into each of the divisions of National Chain Group.
Fantastic. We look forward to it.
Yeah, our plan really is to bring in each division, bring in some of the craftsmen that work in those divisions so that we can get maybe more technical or an understanding of what we do and how we do it. So we're really excited about it. I mean, this is our first go around, so I think the next one will be a little more seasoned, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, this was a great first start. I'm seeing lots of people communicating about how to get a hold of you, but I'm not seeing more questions come through. So unless there are any other questions, I think I'm going to wrap it for today. And I will be playing the video one more time. So if you came in late and weren't able to see the video, hang tight past the thank yous and goodbyes, and we'll launch the video one more time. But I'd just really like to thank all of you for taking time to prepare for this and be here and share information about National Chain. And I'd like to thank MJSA for deciding to do Expo online, because I think this is a great way to get to know the member community and all of the capabilities that this community has. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to sign off now. I'm going to switch back over to the video presentation, which is going to take like 2 seconds for me to do since it's disconnected now. And again, if you are watching the video, turn the sound on your device. I can't control that for you. And then we'll also make it clear where you can watch the video outside of this webinar in the future, so you'll be able to see it. But anyway, thanks everybody. Thanks MJSA. Thank you National Chain Group. And I'll see you guys all soon.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Welcome to National Chain Group in Warwick, Rhode Island. National Chain is a full-service custom jewelry manufacturer, one of the most progressive, innovative, and largest in the world.
National Chain has complete manufacturing capabilities. We can actually work from basic gold, bullion, to finished product. We're one of the few companies in the industry that can offer a full service like this.
With those capabilities and the talents of highly skilled craftsmen, National Chain Group produces an extensive line of precious and semi-precious pendant and fashion chain, earrings, findings, tubing, wire, and beads, all with the highest of standards. Their craftsmen have decades of experience. Their machinery and technology is state-of-the-art. They are vertically integrated. Everything is manufactured in their buildings.
We keep a control of the process right from the grain, turning it into wire, flat stock tubing.
And it's all measured for precision to make sure it flows through the process flawlessly. Among the more than 2,000 chain machines is some of the most specialized cutting-edge machinery in the industry. The result is a consistently high-quality product for its clients. National Chain Group, with its facilities in Rhode Island and Santo Domingo, produces millions of feet of chain and jewelry products annually. The offshore plant in the Dominican Republic enhances the company's manufacturing capacity, reducing costs for its customers who get a high-quality product on time and at competitive prices. No wonder National Chain is featured in 2 television programs on prominent cable networks. The Discovery Channel profiles the company in its popular program, How It's Made. And National Chain is on the History Channel's series, Modern Marvel.
At National Chain Group in Warwick, Rhode Island, 600 machines are running at maximum capacity every day to produce jewelry chain.
Even with its impeccable reputation as a worldwide leader and one of the most respected full-service custom jewelry manufacturers in the world, National Chain is not sitting still.
One of the keys to National's success is the fact that the management of National Chain has decided to invest yearly in the development of new technology, new equipment.
The rapid prototype equipment is cutting edge, top of the line.
This drive to vertical integration began in late 1997 when National Chain President Steve Cipolla decided that to increase his company's self-sufficiency and flexibility, it would begin making its own wire. The decision made a great deal of sense given the company's reputation as a prime supplier of pendant and fashion chain, the production of which required enormous amounts of wire on a daily basis. Cipolla invested in the necessary equipment, from continuous casting machines to rolling mills and strand annealing furnaces. Wayne Wiesner, the company's special projects manager who oversees all of the company's mill operations, says that Steve is never afraid to invest. Even more investments enabled the company to produce tubing and flat stock for its findings division, along with solders in various grades. With each new investment, the vertical integration deepened. But what began as an effort to make National Chain increasingly self-sufficient soon turned into a boon for its customers, who began turning to the company for their own metal needs. That demand ultimately led to the creation of a new division, National Fabricated Metals. Today, that demand continues to grow. For example, Wiesner estimates that the company's weekly production of wire, if strung end to end, would span 2,000 miles. To put it in more visual terms, that's enough wire to stretch along the entire East Coast from the northernmost tip of Maine to the Florida Keys. Such success has required the company to expand its mill operations, which are all conducted at the National Chain headquarters complex in Warwick, Rhode Island. A new addition there is increasing the company's total manufacturing space to 230,000 square feet. What truly separates National Fabricated Metals from its competitors is not just its capacity, but also its flexibility and its ability to meet a range of customer needs. In that way, the mill division shares many of the same advantages enjoyed by all of National Chain's divisions: a breadth of expertise, high-tech equipment, and cross-functional operations. Those qualities also provide National's customers, from volume producers to specialty manufacturers, with an unparalleled competitive advantage. National Fabricated Metals may make enough wire to circle the globe many times over the course of a year, but quantity is not the whole story. Another facet of that story is how National provides its customers with choices. The wire, for example, can be manufactured in all colors and carats of gold, including 24 karat, as well as sterling. It can be engineered to meet the most exacting tolerances. The diameter can be drawn down to that of a human hair when needed. And National Fabricated Metals is one of the industry's few suppliers that offer solder-filled wire. Customers have the same range of choices when ordering tubing or flat sheet. The tubing, available in either solid or seam-welded forms, can be reduced so that its walls are as thin as a wafer without giving up strength and durability. The same holds true for flat sheet, which, like the tubes, can be cut to order or modified to meet a customer's specific needs. And that willingness to modify leads to another facet of the story. National exhibits an unmatched dedication to meeting its customers' demands, no matter how tight the tolerances or the deadlines. National also applies rigorous quality control standards. After the initial fire assay, the company uses advanced X-ray fluorescence technologies at every part of the fabrication process, from grain through final form, to ensure the highest standards are consistently maintained throughout. The National team also follows the highest sourcing standards. As a certified member of the Responsible Jewelry Council, or RJC, National has committed itself to following the RJC Code of Practices and to integrating ethical, human rights, social, and environmental considerations into their day-to-day operations. More and more consumers have questions about how companies obtain the metals used in jewelry, and National is taking the steps necessary to ensure that their customers can purchase from them with total confidence. National Chain Group is actually made up of 8 separate entities all working together to serve the industry. National Chain, its best-known brand, produces up to 1.5 million feet of chain per week, enough to keep 600 machines running daily at maximum capacity. They produce these chains in a wide range of weights, finishes, and styles, including exclusive Byzantine designs. Standard Chain creates finished product with uniquely crafted knit, interwoven, and flexible metal patterns through proprietary methods that ensure maximum quality and comfort. James A. Murphy & Son specializes in both plain and fancy beads, findings, and tubing, with the industry's best selection of patterns and textures. National Fabricated Metals offers everything from casting grain to sheet, wire, and solder, all created to the most exacting specifications. National Design Studio can produce custom metal molds, personalized chain, findings, and jewelry. National can also take a design from model to finished casting, on time and on budget, with their Village Goldsmith and Colorado Casting division. The Village Goldsmith has a 30-year reputation for superior production services, from CAD/CAM to casting, stamping, and sintering. Apogee Precision Parts is a dock-to-stock supplier that specializes in stamping and deep drawing metal parts for a range of industries. It manufactures everything from charms to capacitor components, medical implants, and diamond drill bits with zero discharge. And C&W Steel Stamp Company is National's most recent acquisition. C&W offers high-end coining and striking services. It produces everything from charms and ID tags to coins and components with precise detail and accuracy. The latest and finest technology, quality, old-world craftsmanship, exclusive chains and jewelry for any client's needs. That's what National Chain Group is all about. National Chain Group is committed to getting better every day. Contact them to see for yourself why they continue to prove to their customers that the possibilities are endless.